it, I have to think about how it can be taken apart and recycled eventually.
Yeah, my youngest boy graduated as a junior in high school. The junior year, he came home and said, "Dad," he said, "I can't do this anymore. I just can't." And I said, "You ain't quitting. I'll beat your ass if you do that." And he goes, "No, no, no, no. That's not what I'm saying." But he said, "I think I want to go to summer school." Well, looked at the local program, and it wasn't going to do it for him. So UT in Austin actually has a high school program. And this is one of them stupid smart kids that has difficulty tying his shoes. He graduated with a 103.624 average. And I can't figure out where that 3.64 came from, but that's another discussion. But he made contact with him. We drove to Austin, got him all hooked up. He clept out of his math, he clept out of his English, and he had to have one more science. And the only one they had was environmental science in a high school setting, of course. So he took it. It was a 6 week course, and God Almighty, this boy he knocked it out in 3 days. It was the damnest thing I ever seen. But I got to look at some of the curriculum, and I was belly laughing at some of the crap that they actually were bringing up there. It was hilarious, but yeah, I mean they're pushing that crap in school too. You know, I mean I'm all for. I pick up crap that's in my yard, and you'll see an occasional Walmart bag of something I'm not threw out on the side of the road. But I mean, it's just how they're pushing this stuff. Like it's a damn religion, man. I mean, they hit the name, they pray to the don't trash the earth God, and like I said, they give them an inch and they're going to take them off.
Tap, good morning.
Good morning, Punchbowl. Good morning, friend. I hope everyone's having a great day. I just got ready for work. I have the cutest outfit on. I'm wearing my Punchbowl outfit today, my Punchbowl sundress. And I'm going to drive all the boys crazy on the webcam. And I just want everyone to like the space and please repost it. I see there might be some people on stage who didn't repost it. That's okay, you fucking assholes. If you're going to do that this morning, that's fine. But also, my Rumble or my locals page is in the Jumbotron above. And, like, it'll have free stuff on there. And basically, I built, like, the web page for the Punch Bowl. And I write, like, applications behind the scenes, like, with the API and stuff. And that costs money. Like, if you sign up for my locals for free, you just create an account. That'll make more people sign up because they'll think it's more popular than it is. And if you do like the work that I do, you can sign up for support it for like $5 to $10 a month, and that'll go towards the API costs and the hosting costs that I currently have. Thanks, Punchbowl. Be sure to like and follow everyone. And if you don't follow Jeff, I'm really sad for you.
Tap, do you have your Tammy Faye war paint on?
I always have my war paint on, and I look beautiful this morning. If we were in a bar, you would think I was a woman. I'd be like, sorry, honey, I see that ring.
Oh my God, war paint. Tammy Faye war paint.
We need many of you to sign up for locals so we never get visited by that tap again. I'm pretty sure I know what's going on. And just that tap is going to keep showing up until somebody signs up for locals. So please, God, y'all, sign up for locals.
If you ever wanted to see someone make a silly website, like in real time, like how to actually buy the domain and do the code, and like I also asked ChatGPT stuff. If you ever wanted to see how to make a website that disavows cannibalism, then like sign up for my locals. And locals is owned by Rumble, and it's like not YouTube. So it's on the right. And people are like, oh, I don't want to sign up because then they'll have my information. I don't see it. And also, like, Elon and the federal government has all your information anyways. So I don't really see what the deal is. I mean, if you like the Punch Bowl, you'll sign up for this. There's 12 people so far. But if you don't, I know you want to do something so simple as taking 2 minutes to sign up for an account for free to support the work I do. And I know that although you like speaking in the Punch Bowl, you don't like what I do for the work itself. So that really speaks volumes to me. Thanks.
You know, there are some things even your imagination brings together that you can't unsee, even if it's just in your imagination.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I didn't know where that was going either.
Seeing it, PO'd. I see it.
His legs were crossed, unshaven.
Just that one leg bouncing with the toes up in the air as I'm like.
I wish there
one.
was. I wish there was.
Got that Mulvaney smile going on, that Mulvaney smile cracking from side to side. Oh my god!
Y'all were just jealous I got my face on beer cans.
5 o'clock shadow. Good, Kevin. What's up, Kevin?
Good morning, Town Square. I wanted to jump in while I still have reception. I am reporting to you live from the top deck of Hurricane 2 out of Gloucester, Mass. So I've posted some photos down below, hoping to get some photos of some whales for you all for today. And yeah, might even try to do a video, but we're on our way to the feeding grounds to see whales today.
You can actually go live right on Twitter if you wanted to later.
What's Kevin wailing about?
Got jokes. Great.
The coffee is brewing. It's going to be good.
I won't believe anything you're posting, Kevin, until I see your hand petting a whale.
You got it. I'll try to reach over far enough.
Heavy petting,
The
Kevin.
thing is, whenever I went whaling in the past, I was single. I was never married. So I'm interested to hear how it's going to work for Kevin.
So I got a question for the curators of this space. What is the actual punch bowl recipe? You guys, it's kind of like a motto that you guys got to have, you know, but there's got to be a recipe associated with a punch and a punch bowl. So what's the recipe itself?
All right.
Like a mission statement. There you
One
go.
plastic jug of Hawaiian Punch Red, one plastic jug of Hawaiian Punch Green, one plastic jug of vodka, one plastic jug of gin.
We'll
Mix
bring
in
the coffee.
cooler.
You bring
cut
the
up.
conversation.
Cut up a couple pieces of fruit, throw it in there, let soak for 3 days, invite friends, ensure everyone has a designated driver. That's a recipe for the punch.
Replace the vodka with Everclear, please.
All right. We can have separate coolers.
My gosh, I mean, I bet there's some liberals' head just exploded all that plastic we were talking about.
Oh, yeah. Nothing but petroleum products. Even the cooler's made out of it.
I think we should put petroleum in the punch.
A plastic ladle. Oh my goodness.
I wouldn't be surprised to see
and served in a solo cup.
I wouldn't be surprised, y'all, to see an actual punch bowl for sale around Christmas time. I'm looking for a real one with some sets of glasses and a ladle and stuff without it being real expensive, and I want to get that shit engraved.
There you go. You got to do that. And got to have like a wall mount, some endangered animal or something on the wall as a background.
So we'd have a punch bowl and we just have a little engraving on the bottom, call it the grog.
Yeah, we do something like that. Find something that's actually made in America, put it in the gift store. Would many people buy it? Probably not, because it'd be a more expensive item, but it'd be a cool thing to do.
I think the last dining in I went to, they had a toilet bowl set up as the grog, and you had to go up and report to the president of the board, and anything you said was a lie, and then you were immediately made to drink from the grog. That was usually all the new NCOs that had to drink from the grog, and it was like the most grotesque looking thing.
Oh, yeah.
It did have a brown color to it, but it was nothing but alcohol.
Was this at Bohemian Grove or something? This sounds like a Freemasons event.
No, like a combat dining in or combat dining out. Like, I had to put one together, a dining in my last year in the service, and that was in Korea. And it's just like a traditional thing. And yeah, there's a grog. You put random nasty stuff into it. And then there's traditions like the oldest person in the squadron, the youngest person in the squadron come up and drink out of the grog together, shit like that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's basically you've got your senior non-commissioned officers and lower enlisted, even corporals could come, but it was where you literally let down your discipline. You know, you didn't you. That's why I said you report to the president of the board, not the command sergeant
And
major.
if
You know what I
there's
mean?
rules, like if anyone, like we call it, no opening the hangar doors, so no talking about work. If anyone talks about work, you can get reported to like the was it Bishop, the president of the board or whatever, like violation, point of order or whatever.
Yeah, but basically it's everybody just it was letting your hair down, I guess you'd say, or just letting down all the discipline, and you got drunk with all the actual leadership.
In the herd, we would set
But
up our camo netting, our water buffaloes, a bunch of other gear. We would take, because we had a motor pool, we would take one of the flatbeds, pull that around, make that the stage for the group commander, all the squadron commanders and top enlisted. And then we'd, underneath the camo netting, we'd set up like tables and whatnot for each squadron. Well, that was always like not only a barbecue every year, but a massive like water gun fight. And last year I was at Tinker, I'll have to show you pictures, Bishop. I actually built a trebuchet, and we brought that onto base. And that thing was specifically built for throwing water balloons across that fucking parking lot. It was fantastic.
yeah, ours was a formal dining in though.
We did those too. That was good stuff. That's stuff I miss about the military.
The thing that was the craziest was angel hair pasta, you know, uncooked. So then when you grabbed the ladle, it was just like laying over it was laying over, and then you get it poured into your mug. uh, what the hell is this? How did we get on that?
I don't know. Well, I guess Punchbowl. Probably because I was promoting the locals.
Oh, that's right. That's
Oh,
right.
by the way, we're live on Rumble early this morning. I didn't feel like dealing with it later.
Right on.
I messed up yesterday, y'all. If you go to the recording on Rumble, you'll see it goes on for 4 hours. There's like an hour and 15 minutes of it just looking at the same screen, not moving, because I didn't actually shut it down like I thought I did. So even Chat for Nerd makes mistakes. And that's why you should join my locals, because I make mistakes.
You're forgiven, brother. You're forgiven.
I appreciate that. I always enjoy my daily opportunities to confirm that I'm still human.
I do that as soon as I get up in the morning because everything hurts.
Yeah, I wanted Carolina to stay on stage. She said she was driving, but I wanted to ask her about her I don't know, it was a Nest Cam or a camera she had on the front porch. Did you guys see
Yeah, the
that?
fake cops.
Yeah, I want to know some more. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's a dangerous world you're playing in when you start getting into politics deep and actually start having influence.
Man, that's crazy. You know, sometimes I talk about home security cameras on my locals. You can sign up for free.
I got a
Nice.
few security cameras on my place, and they walk on 4 legs, and they're really angry at people they don't know.
Heck yeah, I got 4 of those too. Sometimes you'll see information about my dogs on my locals. Yeah, it's going to be like this all day.
You sure you're not in advertising, man? Because you got ABC down pat, brother.
It's funny because I'm scared of it because I'm shy, but I seem to do pretty well at being an asshole and interrupt people. Pathfinder's like, I get it. You like selling the cookbook in your locals, but I got my fucking hand up tap.
Keep away.
We have something else in common. I'm shy too, man. Very shy.
My mic coming in okay? Or is it all screwed up again?
Sounds good.
A little quiet, but we can hear you.
All right. So, Tap, the reason I raised my hand is you mentioned you made a mistake. I recently made a huge one that, if left uncorrected, would be detrimental to a lot of people in the future. So, and what's screwed up about it, it's a math calculation. So last time I was in here, basically told y'all what I do. I do a whole lot of physics and a whole lot of freaking math. With that being said, one of my calculations specifically pertained to my project of building researching and developing a generational ship. And I messed up the dimensional calculation for it to the point to where the Coriolis effect comes into play. And it was so bad on a individual human that it would cause nausea to the point of you're now 6 feet under. A pretty bad miscalculation. Luckily, I caught it.
Just for clarity, the Coriolis effect is the when the rotation of the Earth.
Well, it affects all rotational systems. So basically at the equator of the Earth, its effect is basically zero, and then it spreads tangentially around the globe, north and south, until it reaches about zero again when you get to the North Pole and South Pole. But in my system, since I'm using a rotational cylinder, the sidewall is the main rotating aspect. So tangentially, it would be the length of the cylinder where everybody is living. There would be a huge screw up.
Wow, that's deep. Way early to get that deep.
He made an intergalactic Noah's Ark.
I haven't made it yet. I'm designing it.
Are you using any any SpaceX data in that calculation?
No, these are traditional mathematical calculations that have been around since probably the 1800s, well before the 1800s, because they're macro physics and quantum.
Back when the abacus was used?
Yeah, about that time.
Ooh. What about anybody got an extra $450,000 laying around?
Oh, you want to go on Virgin Galactic too?
Yeah, that's a ticket to go space tourism.
Yeah, they're claiming to be the first, but I remember Bezos already took people up. Wasn't one of them like the guy from Star Trek or something? Like, they already took people up, but they're the first. Everybody's the first at everything
Look,
around here.
if you want to go to space, we had Derek Evans in here. You just spray some wasp killer on toilet paper and let it dry, and you smoke that shit. Don't actually do that.
I forgot.
You can get way higher than space for less than 450 grand with that.
Say that again, bro.
No,
No,
don't
the-
say that again. Do not repeat.
And even notice like the Virgin Galactic, that's suborbital, I think, right? I don't even think technically they're taking you to space. I think they're taking you just to the edge of the atmosphere.
Yeah, and I guarantee they'll vet you if you have any post in your past that the Earth's flat. You're not getting a ride.
I don't trust it. I need President Biden to go up there and prove to me that it's safe. I need him to lead and set the example and show that commercial space travel is safe.
Well, when the wires, when he goes to act like he's floating around, there's no way he could recover.
At least he won't fall.
Well, while there's not really an up in space, there is always a down.
Go ahead, Magna.
Yeah, I'm glad somebody's working on a generational ship. We're going to have one eventually, right?
Appreciate that. I just got really, really bored and really, really angry because I couldn't find an answer to a question. So I decided to solve it myself.
You went into one of those flat earth spaces, didn't you?
And if Biden wants to go up there, he's more than welcome to stay.
I have been in more than a few flat earth spaces. I find them hilarious and they inspire me to do better. And with that being said, no, the question was, why did we ever stop exploring the cosmos and the universe on our solar system? And why did we stop our manned program and revert to robots? That's a pretty lame thing to do in my book.
What
But don't rockets add to global warming? Just saying.
when you're in those spaces and people tell you you can't prove the earth is round, and I give them like conservation of energy principles and things like I try to get the simple things where like why does a bubble make a bubble? Well, there's a reason why. And oh, and then I get all kind of weird arguments back. But I just want to know, what argument do you use against that?
And that's a good question. And sometimes it can be difficult to keep track of the different questions that pop up in spaces. And that's why in the Jumbotron you can check out the notebook. That's right, the Punchbowl notebook where you can write down your thoughts in between speakers. And you can keep track of stuff. Have a calculation you need to write down to make sure that the Earth is saved when we get off of this planet, go looking for a new one. Get the Punchbowl notebook for less than $7. I marked it down so the profit is bare minimum. Any 50 cents or whatever will go to support the API. That's right, the Punchbowl notebook. It's here. Write down stuff on paper when you're in the Punchbowl.
Cap, how many pages does it have?
Oh, over 140, and that's fantastic because each day you can write down a reminder to sign up for My Locals, where you can see free content in addition to becoming a supporter if you'd like to, where the cost will go to be recouped on the API cost for the Punchbowl.
So how long does it take to ship? Because you got to go back to the back of the book, and then you got to put yourself a reminder to say, "Hey, you better order now."
Oh man, I would order now because it's going to take about a week. Because you got to remember, this isn't something where it's just made in China. This is one of those things where we look to try and get as many American components as possible. So of course, it takes a little bit longer because when we give up convenience, we're usually going for our values. So if you don't hate America, sign up for My Locals and get a notebook. Oh, also Jeff and Kevin have merch stores too, but they're not plugging theirs right now, so that's why I'm plugging mine. Also check out their merch store.
It's still a serious question. What do you tell people when they make those arguments? Even if I use something like conservation of energy and tell them there's a reason why this happens and there's a reason why things become spherical and things like that.
Magna. The beauty of
So
those
there's
people
actually
is thought experiment. And I'll say this real quick, Pathfinder, and let you talk because I want to hear more about your art. But why not? There's no reason to try to win an argument with a flat earther. If you don't agree with them, then it's a beautiful thought experiment to go in and argue with somebody who disagrees with you. And that's why we should worry less about proving people wrong and using other people as a way to sharpen our own ideas. I think God bless the flat earth people because I like being reminded that someone thinks diametrically opposed to me and I better be sure I'm right. Also, wouldn't it be better if everything was sitting on the back of a giant turtle?
It would be, because then I would have more time to put out content on My Locals, which anyone can sign up for free.
Were you like a car salesman in a previous life or
I
something?
know, it's only today, but I'm having fun with it. Actually, probably in the next half hour, I'm going to annoy myself, so don't worry, I'm going to stop soon. But it is good practice. My inspiration is Shapiro. He can make anything they're talking about like a lead into their ads,
I guarantee you, he's a speed talker. My gosh, that man can talk fast. And he would be looked at, frowned upon down in the South because we're kind of slow and draw it out a bit.
Damn, I failed to find a way to tie that to the notebook, dude. Oh, I could have said something like, "Don't worry on my locals. I'm sure to take my time, so you don't have to keep up with me speaking too fast."
Pathfinder, go ahead, buddy.
Okay, so to answer your question, the simplest way is the stick and shadow experiment that was done in ancient Greece. Basically, at 12 noon,
Pathfinder,
you
your
put a
mic
stick
is
in the
muffled,
ground.
buddy.
Oh,
Did you swallow your microphone?
no, I'm on a mountain.
Damn it, you killed the room, Pathfinder. See that?
Where's all that static coming from?
Gotta
PO,
be.
Theo's got an
PO,
open mic.
he's got it.
Thank you.
It was making me hungry. It kind of sounded like bacon sizzling.
It's actually a fan running in the background. I apologize for that, but it's already 80 degrees.
Completely understand that, brother. Go ahead, Pathfinder.
Oh, is my mic any better?
Sounds good for the second.
Okay, with that being said, the easiest way to fix the flat earth argument is the stick and shadow experiment. You basically wait till 12 noon, put a stick in the ground, realize there's no shadow, but have your buddy about a mile away stick a stick in the ground simultaneously and realize, and he'll observe a shadow because there's curvature of the earth, and while the sun is directly above you a mile away, it's not, and it'll cast a shadow. They
This is
figured that out.
Eratosthenes, Pathfinder. Someone did this thousands of years ago.
Yeah, they did this in ancient Greece and figured it out.
Isn't there the 7 mile rule where a 6 foot tall man can stand in a boat and look across the water, and at 7 miles he loses sight of something at sea level because of the curvature of the earth?
Yeah, that's why Columbus wasn't scared to sail to the New World, because many of those sailors, when they left port, they would watch the port slip below the horizon as they headed out to sea. All of them were confident that they were sailing on something that was curved, and they'd realized that a long time ago. The experiment Pathfinder is describing, I think that was Eratosthenes, and he did it in Greece and Egypt, right? Like it was hundreds, or I can't remember how far apart, but they did that thousands of years ago where the guy's like, look, shadow, curvature, earth.
You can also take a magnetic compass and walk west, and you'll never change off of west and take north, and you'll eventually turn south.
This is why you have to appreciate flat earthers, because anybody that's willing to think against the obvious is at least interesting.
Now, see, I don't really ever fault them for their misunderstandings. That's definitely a lack of education not done on their part. That is more a done to them by the education system. I do applaud them for their attempts to understand, no matter how asinine it ends up being. I do applaud their attempts because at least they're trying. And that says a lot for them in comparison to a lot of individuals in our society. Let me guess, my mic broke again.
Nope, working perfect.
So after all of the commercial break that Tap had said, someone had mentioned they wanted to know more about my project. I was wondering if you had any direct questions, I'll answer.
I'll bite. Where are you going to get your resources from?
Not Earth. There's just way too many geopolitics to do that. I'm gonna be building in space on the Kuiper Belt.
But wouldn't you have to go to those places first to get the materials to build? I'm confused.
Basically, the very first project that the Pathfinder Initiative is going to be doing is something known as swarm code. It allows robots to act like a hive of bees, where you have a queen bee, for example, is a queen drone that is a robot that is directing all other robots in the completion of a task. So these taskings are going to be harvesting material, carrying material, and then refining material, and then to where it is a printable material, and then all the actual construction bits and pieces and bobs will be 3D printed using metal printing technology.
Man, it sounds like the Borg.
Where are you going to get the cash?
Okay, so once I reach 50,000 people, as far as a following and an understanding of the idea being prolificated of what I'm doing, I will then begin crowdfunding, and I'm also doing government grants.
Who's government?
Depends on who's in charge at the time, I guess.
You want the taxpayers to pay for this?
No, I don't want the well. Here's the deal. I don't want the taxpayers to really just pay for it. What I want is if they believe in the idea and that my idea is worth doing, then they would donate to it. And I'm only asking for $25 because if I can get $25 globally on 100 million people, that's $2.5 billion.
I don't know anything about
So,
science. I can barely add. I can usually like find a tip if I'm at a restaurant, but I do like listen to. I like stories. That's what I like. And Pathfinder, I gotta say, this is the kind of story that usually starts at the beginning of a horror film that takes place in space, right? Like some well-meaning guy's like, I'm gonna build a space ark and I'm gonna train these swarms of robot things to do things, and then 10 minutes later, like your swarms of robot are taking over the earth.
They have a spike of strange radiation that mutates their code inside of the bots. This is an awesome sci-fi book. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm not going to say that the existence of a very, very minute possibility of what you're saying will come true, because in the realms of quantum probability, all things that could happen have happened and have the potential to happen.
See, like this is that moment in Jurassic Park where Jeff Goldblum is like, "You guys are screwing up. Everything's gonna go wrong." And they're like, "Ah, don't worry. Look at the cool dinosaurs."
Man,
Hey, I'm fully aware that just in the attempt, I could possibly die, and everybody with me could possibly die. But at the same time, when Christopher Columbus loaded his crew of colonists or explorers, they all knew the same exact thing that I just said, and that didn't stop them. And I'm not, and there's no way in hell I'm weaker than my ancestors.
sometimes you just got to look at the horizon, no matter how bright it is, when there's an asteroid coming down, and decide you're going to make lemons out of, or excuse me, like make lemonade out of lemons, you know? And sometimes the best thing you can do is just focus on your kit. You know, head to the punchbowl.space, check out the merch stores, order yourself a hat. I see that Wretched and Bama Mama down there both are sporting their hats and posted pictures of them today with the Punchbowl logo. Get yourself a hat so when you're looking at the horizon for our impending doom, you can protect your eyes. That's the punchbowl.space. Get yourself a hat.
Oh, now I understand your question more thoroughly when you asked if I want the taxpayers to pay for it.
Yeah, the government grant.
Yeah, okay. So let's get into that for a minute. Well, I will be applying for government grants, and yes, that does come out of taxpayer pockets. There's also the reality that most of those government grants go to ridiculous projects such as how many flea bites does it take to eat a beagle's head? I mean, there are projects, and
Let's
then
ask
there are
Anthony Fauci.
projects. So, with that being said, I would like to believe that my project is significantly more altruistic and better for humanity than what most of these grants go
I
to.
don't know. It's worrisome
Okay.
because notice you pitch just the Fauci beagles. They're like, well, it's not as bad as that. And that's at least specious reasoning. Like, well, the government should fund me because I'm not attacking beagles with insects. But like, imagine if you just had to make like a case for here's why you all in the town square should fund my project without mentioning any of those horror stories that come from the little short guy we all hate.
It isn't in it.
I think
Go ahead, Jen.
I think if you sold, like literally, if you sold your, not your plans, but like your outline, and you sold the possibilities that could happen as screenplays and books, you could fund it yourself. I mean, literally, I'm a sci fi junkie. So I'm loving what you're saying because parts of what you've said have been in books that I've read, here and there, little ideas, not the full fruition of anything. I think it would be awesome. And I think you could fund it yourself. And you could also actually create new movies, think of that for Hollywood, and new books out there.
Okay, real quick. So, International Space Station. So, 4 astronauts on the ISS require 12 gallons of water every day, and it's $83,000 per gallon to lift it into space. It adds up very quickly.
You are not wrong, but that's why I'm getting my water from the Kuiper Belt. With that being said, as far as your idea of books and movies and stuff like that, one, I'll never work with Hollywood. Two, I don't believe in selling my idea. So everything that I design, including the math equation that I just realized I screwed up, I've already posted on Twitter. Every blueprint I make, I am posting on Twitter. I'm not going to have a patent for a single thing. I am giving everything I develop to the public for free globally. Because the reality is, if I am successful in my endeavor, then now the public has a choice to make. They can either sit here and stay under their preferred government control system, or they can leave and strive for a better future for themselves and their families.
So let me ask this, because I don't think anyone in here, when looking at, because I asked about the government costs. I'm not going to nitpick on that, especially if the world is ending. And I'm thinking about when this goes out as an episode later. So, first of all, I got two questions for you, man, that I think will help bring this together. First of all, recap what got you into it, and second of all, why should, I know this is going to sound bad, but I'll toss this conversation grenade into the room this morning. Why should the human race go on? Why do we deserve to? Why should we build a ship to go on?
What was the first question?
Just if you wanted to give a quick background on, or excuse me, quick recap of your background and why you're doing this.
So while I do have an education in physics and mechanical engineering, aerospace engineering, and space engineering, I never finished it because, well, life happens and you have to take care of your family. And end of the day, that's my go-to. So with that being said, I was busy watching the Inspiration 4 mission from Elon's SpaceX. And then it led me to the question. I was like, hey, why don't we have a moon base? Why don't we have a Mars base? Why don't we have any of these things? If you would have asked anybody of the generation that was around during the original space race, they would have said, we went to the moon, we can do anything, except we stopped doing it. We excelled in every other aspect of civilization, whether it's particle physics, whether it's computational power, whether it was every sector, America excelled. We literally brought the modern age and then the information age and now what is known as the AI enlightenment age to the world on a silver platter and said, here you go, except for manned exploration of space. We stopped. So I looked into the history of it. I found a whole lot of distractions. Vietnam War, there was a couple accidents, some astronauts died, and not to even devalue that in any sense of the word, but the reality is, if my brother in arms dies doing what he loves and for the betterment of humanity as a whole, that would inspire me to accomplish it even greater, so that his death would not be in vain. So I found a whole lot of distractions and no good reasons to actually stop our manned missions. So I went around looking at our current infrastructure for space exploration. We got a lot of robots, not so many people. And so I just came to the conclusion that they didn't want it to be done. So I then decided I'm going to do it myself. And with that being said, what was your second question?
Thank you, man. So the second question would be, why is the human blah, need more coffee this morning. Why is the human race worth preserving and or continuing sending it out on that ship?
So if you look back on human history, it's just specifically Homo sapiens. We have struggled from the dirt in the caves to build the first civilization. We have attempted to make life better for everything around us. We have failed most of the time. But even in every single one of those attempts, we did strive to do better. And with each successive attempt, we got a little better at doing better. And now we're in our current attempt, and we are not doing so hot as a countrywide civilization, even as a global civilization. But at the same time, you can either rule through fear and fail, or you can rule through inspiration and unite, and thus do better. So I would argue, with that being said, and that our entire history of that being what it is, that while from an outside source, it may appear that we fail more than we succeed. But it's the gradual succession that makes humanity what it is. And it's that gradual succession that is celebrated and will continue to be celebrated.
Let me riddle you something. Like, what would you say to someone who's like, your plan is like a group of people who used up all the resources in their general vicinity, feel like, oh, there's nothing left here at all. Let's go find somewhere else to get resources and to live a better life and just abandon this place. Is there, if I said to you, you're jumping way ahead in the timeline, why don't we explore our world? Isn't there a world left to explore here? What do you say to that?
I say right now, right off the bat, that we have approximately 4.5 billion years. If nothing goes wrong, if nothing else happens and nothing goes wrong, we have approximately 4.5 billion years before the sun becomes a red giant and irradiates all life off the planet. That equates to not eternity. But given the current stats out of the census, all those death rates, birth rates, disease rates, all of those crazy numbers, you can actually equate those to variables and do a math equation and figure out exactly how many generations of Americans are left in 4.5 billion years. It's 144,000,000.983 given the current stats of the census of generations of Americans left. And when your generations of possibility are below 150 million, we have severe problems.
Did you just do math and say that for sure in 4.5 billion years there will only be 144 million people?
No, generations left.
I'm just going to say to the town square, 4.5 billion years, a long time. The dinosaurs roamed the earth for 170 million years, right? We've been around, I think Pathfinder could fact check me. Homo sapiens only been around a couple 100,000 years. And I don't know how many couple 100,000s are in 4.5 billion, but I feel like we have a little bit of time to explore the planet, maybe.
Oh yeah, the follow-on point I wanted to make. And wow, yes, of course, exploring the planet and doing all the scientific research we can to better understand our native environment. That's 100% a good thing. But at the same time, if we continue at this very, 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 very slow rate of actually getting stuff done, because we are waiting on current research to do more research and not working congruently alongside doing multiple things at once, well, it's going to be forever before we progress into an area that would be considered amazing by just about everybody.
Pathfinder, what is the, because I haven't heard this, so it's a space arc, which would mean that you'd be collecting things from Earth, right? What is the process for that? And is that something that we could utilize before building the spaceship in order to ensure that we don't lose any more species from loss of, you know, ecosystems and things like that?
Yeah, so wow, it has been funnily termed the space arc. It is a generational ship. But with that being said, um, yes, to answer your question, it is known as a genetic repository. So basically, if you just think back of all those companies like Ancestry and 23andMe and all those other companies that collect your DNA, um, yeah, it's all stored somewhere. Your specific like DNA strand in your genetics are stored somewhere. So that would be known as a genetic repository. What we can do though, and what we have actually started doing, is getting the DNA sequences of all species that we can actually interact with, or even like come across on the planet. We don't have a complete collection yet, but at some point that collection will be complete. And then, yes, you can store it basically on a hard drive and take it with you, and it's protected as long as you have it backed up in the whole 9 yards. And also, I'm also including a seed bank as well. So, a seed bank and a genetic repository of all known species.
So if it's on a hard drive, then it's not organic. You would be creating that from organic material, like recreating it in a DNA sequence. Like,
Yeah, so you can actually take the information that is on the hard drive. It'll give you A, T, C, G, A, whatever the sequence is, and you can actually um, add in just have that material. You can actually 3D print that material and reconstitute a DNA structure. And then it's just a matter of cloning.
Well, then
And
he did bring up that we have so much time left, and we really do. But the thing is, just like all those other scary sci-fi movies we've watched, isn't it always a point in the movie where somebody says, "God, if we just had more time"?
so yeah, on the time thing, that's just the sun. That doesn't account for Apophis, the meteor that's supposed to be hitting us in 100 years. That doesn't account
Yay,
for
Apophis!
AI
You can come
takeover.
early if you want.
Wait, Pathfinder, you can't just start tossing shit out there like that. What is this meteor that's going to hit us? You just said it like we all knew. Like, well, everybody knows a meteor is going to destroy us.
How do you not know Apophis, dumbass?
What? I only knew it
So
from
according
Stargate.
to the emojis, most people knew about this. So with that being
Hang
said, there's
on,
a near
hang
Earth
on. We're taking
object.
a poll. God dang it. I'll take Chad Sass, but I can't be the only person who hasn't heard of this.
I named my first puppy out of my litter Apophis because I knew it was coming. This is like everybody knows this shit, Samuel. Sometimes you're too smart for your own good.
I think we've spent a lot of time talking about this. Let's start moving into the news, the articles we got in the back chat. Chad's here. We got about an hour. Oh, Jen's got it. All right, Jen, go ahead. Jen, you can work in your questions if you'd like to, but eventually we'll pivot to news. My bad.
this is just, it's all about sci-fi, like science fiction, which becomes reality sooner or later, so for me I like it. I was geeked out from the very beginning. Like, sorry if I came on strong, but like, I like this stuff. These are the books that I read. And what he's talking about, is stuff that I look at when it comes out, like the CRISPR technology, all of that stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, and I go back to the book that I read and I'm like, they talked about this thing, or, watching Star Trek and all of that stuff growing up. Like, I'm a sci-fi geek. I get really freaking excited about this stuff.
The more I talk to you, Jen, the more I know what you put in the search bar on Pornhub.
Oh my gosh.
Well, just give me
Her
an
at is
example.
McFreak, Tap. Her at is
I
McFreak. What
know,
do you
I
want?
know. Anyways, like and retweet, or excuse me, like and repost the space, and then look up in the jumbotron. Don't worry about what Bishop said. Swipe that to the left and buy the notebook. And if you swipe that to the left, you'll see my locals. And Bishop's like, "Hey, what about my stuff? I'm trying to make some money here, Bishop."
I just ordered 2 of them.
Hell yeah.
So, just with that said, within 10 years, our bioengineering prowess will be at the point to where we can take an ostrich egg and use CRISPR to cut in and remove and turn on and turn off genes of an ostrich's DNA sequence and take DNA from other species around the planet and literally genetically engineer a fire-breathing dragon.
I really
And
hope
the
I'm
Like,
not
first
the only
one will
person
be a
that's
United
horrified
States
today.
Marine.
You guys have got to start watching more movies. Everything Pathfinder's saying today is the first 5 minutes of a horror film. Everything. I mean, I love Pathfinder and I love this initiative, but everything he's saying is the first 5 minutes of a horror film. Like, we'll take an
You're
ostrich
the
egg
first
and
five
put
minutes
shit
of a
in it.
horror film, Samuel.
Jurassic Park.
I'm the guy that
All I
no
heard
one
was
listens to in the horror film, right? They're like, shut that idiot up. He's like some old guy that lives in the hills, right? And they're like, let's make our swarm of worker robots and let's take ostrich eggs and put fire breathing dragons in them because neat.
Samuel's the old man smoking in the movie. He's at the diner at the very beginning, warning everyone, like, I'm just saying. And at the very end, like, it's him on the mountain. There's fire all around him. He's blowing robots away with a shotgun, and he's still chain smoking. And he ends up being one of the few that survive.
so Samuel, you have missed your calling. You should have been around 8 years ago, and I believe it was the state of Connecticut, where there was a dude up there who just decided to make glow-in-the-dark puppies just
That
because.
was Korea.
And
That
he's
guy
been
lived in
doing it for the
Korea.
past.
Oh my God, let's go to something else. I can't take this shit no more. I'm sorry.
Connecticut, Korea, same thing. Can we please go back to the photon
Oh,
phaser
this
thing
is
that you're
absolutely
talking about?
ridiculous. Get your photon
Takes
phaser
off
at the
somebody's genes.
punchbowl.space, where you can go to our merch store, get all your photon phasers that not only can be set to stun, but also set to make people dance for 30 minutes on Continuum. Shout out to Carolina, who just entered the room. Be sure to like and subscribe to everyone that you can, if anyone actually has subscriptions enabled. But I forgot, we're more on the right here in our stuff, so we haven't had subscriptions enabled. That's for Democrats. Anyways, like and repost. America is awesome. It's Friday, and I need more coffee. Oh, my locals. I forgot to plug that for the last. I almost went a minute without plugging my locals. Check out my locals. You can do for free.
I've never reset the room, but I'm going to do it. Mike T, if you've got anything space related, anything with propulsion, flat Earth, geometry, sticks 7 miles away, put your hand down.
If you fart in space, does it move you?
Yeah.
I'm trying to move quick, Chad.
You certainly won't hear it.
You're wearing pants.
Okay.
Do
Okay.
you have an
I
answer?
never wear pants, Pio.
Last night in a space started by Tap, there was a crazy guy from Connecticut who discussed mutating cats with WD-40, but that's for another time and space. Am I the only one listening to this conversation reminded of the conversation about the aerodynamic flight characteristics of an African swallow from the frickin' Monty Python skit? My hair was starting to hurt, and I'm kind of an aerospace engineering kind of guy. But I mean, can't we just figure out how to make the fucking roads fucking smooth and maybe get rid of these voting machines that we can't believe in? I mean, let's start with that until we stop worrying about going to the Kuiper Belt.
Let's get rid of Connecticut and we can get rid of a lot of that shit.
Okay, so Carolina had left earlier, and she'd posted you had some unexpected visitors at your front door. What transpired? What did you say? What did you do?
You didn't want the extended warranty.
Um,
Jake looks hideous.
so can you guys hear me or no?
Yes, loud and
Like
clear.
I'm in okay, sound good. All right. So I had some unexpected visitors at my door, like around midnight, and it was super shady. But I was able to call like my local detective that I was helping a lot and lots of different things, during a flood in Houston. And I always keep the phone number for like my local police officers. I'm very engaged and involved in the school system, so I know like the school cops and pretty much everybody in my community. I mean, I was like a really big person into fundraising for charities and stuff like that, and rescue services for when there's like hurricanes and so on. And so because of the pandemic,
Or 911.
I ended up getting involved with like all the counters to propaganda and whatnot. So I think it was right after I went to Hagerstown in the, helping with the convoys, and I had just gotten back from Ottawa. So I went to Ottawa first, then I went to Hagerstown to help the other guys. It was kind of like a cluster, you know, shit show type of thing because it's like everybody just piled up and there was like a lot of people, you know, there was a lot of leaders in one place, and like it just kind of was like crazy. Um yeah, it got so bad. Like Liz, from RSBN, like they were trying to say that she was like a psyop or that she was like a clone. I mean, it got like really crazy. But anyways, long story short, I get home, right after the whole convoy things. And, I'm coordinating still, like, because I think we were going to do like, rallies at the capitals. Like every capital was supposed to have like the truckers. And, it was a lot of work. Long story short, it was around midnight, and that date that I posted, I think it was like the day before or the day after. I'm sorry, the day 2 days before I posted that. So I get a really weird knock on my door at midnight. I had a ginormous Great Dane. So the dog is like barking like crazy, but I looked at my security surveillance cameras, and it's two police officers, and I'm sitting there like I looked at the car, and it says Metro Police. So I'm like 55 minutes from the Houston Metro Police. So I'm like sitting here like, damn, they're usually they're the ones that do all the hit jobs for what I've heard. And so I didn't open the door. I called the local detective. I emailed every single like major police building in the surrounding areas. I called I called sources, called 911, and they say,
You,
"Will you send the officer?"
you,
Huh?
oh, you were rubber banding. I didn't want you to continue with your good,
Okay.
good.
So can you hear me? So
We can hear you now.
long story short, I ended up, not opening the door. I told the police officers that when they arrive at my home, to basically not knock on the door and call me. So they did. And so I have all the videos. It was crazy. So this was pretty wild because we were getting ready to have a rally in Houston. So the people that take care of our rallies are usually, Proud Boys or militia guys, like from like the defeat the mandates rallies, and like we hosted close to 3,000 at the national level, 1,000 global level. It was like every third Saturday or Sunday of the month globally. So anyway, story short, it was, and then like in less than 24 hours, this was like mainstream media, like all over. I had some friends post it, and I threw it all over the news. And yeah, and then the guys that take care of our rallies, like our security, ended up finding these guys, and they showed up at their house, like to their family, and like, why were you at Carolina's house? And there was no answer. Like there was nobody ever found out exactly why they were at my home until like it got so out of control that the police department had to make a statement that it was like they just went to knock on the wrong door to return a driver license that they had kept. So anyways, so because I live in a very tight community, I found out the neighbor that supposedly they kept their license, and it was super shady because he said that he had gotten pulled over earlier, and that these people lied to him and purposely kept his license. So it happens to be my next door neighbor, and so he had his gun on him and stuff like that. So they kind of like tried to go back to his house and supposedly return
You're rubber banding pretty bad right there. Are you still driving?
Yeah, I'm going to a different part of the country to address some issues.
So the final result of that, they were wearing police. They're identified as police. Why would they just say they were returning their driver's license? So were they police or not?
Well, so we never found if they were the police or not, but we did find them and their families, and they were asked like, why did they come to my home, and there was no answer. Nobody ever made a statement as to like exactly what it was. The neighbor is the one that told me that supposedly there were some cops that came to give him back his license. Bottom line, I didn't open the door, and I advise for people not to open the door when things like this are happening, unless you have like a local, get the phone number for the local sheriff, get to know your local police officers, keep their phone number if you trust them enough, but just if you're someone who's hosting events, doing rallies, or especially if you're an activist for the election integrity, yeah, don't open the door. That's my advice.
That's crazy. And the rubber banding that was going on made it so much more suspenseful. I was like, what is she saying? Oh my gosh, I can't hear her.
I have some questions.
Sure.
So if you have people at your house at midnight and you called your buddies a detective and then you emailed other police stations around you, why would you do
Within
that?
like 3 minutes, like I literally pull out the Google Maps and typed in police department, and I had screenshotted the surveillance cameras of the guys. You can see on my couple posts ago, I just kind of retweeted like an old post that happened last year. And yeah, I just immediately, like, it took me a matter of like 3-4 minutes while those guys were there to send a group text to like all the people that I had helped in the floods, because I was helping put shelters up and take them down and take people down to the Toyota Center. And
Yeah. I gotta ask this. Why wouldn't you just call 911? You have weird ass
I did
shit
call
going at your
911.
front door.
Did you not hear my story? I did call 911.
No, I didn't.
So
You
I
were rubber
called.
banding the whole time, Carolina. I'm trying to understand. Really, I am.
I'm always rubber banding. Like, Twitter hates me. Okay. Bottom line is, step number 1, I called the people I trusted. Step 2, I did call 911 to ensure if there was somebody at my door. Step 3, then I emailed local police departments with the screenshots, and then I gave specific instructions to the actual police to come to my home and call me, when they were at my door, and not to knock on my door. So then when I did get the phone call, I verified that it was the name of the person that they said that they were going to send to my house. Like I said, well, can you give me the name of the officer that's going to come, and then, or call me and tell me the name of the officer. So they did that, and I was able to, identify who was at my door, which was the real police. And there were like 6 cops that pulled up at my home. So I kept, it was like a suspicious person report that I made. And the actual police that showed up, they said, well, we don't even recognize these uniforms, like they are not from like anywhere nearby.
Wait, Carolina,
Yeah,
fake
I don't
cops
know who the
came to
hell
your
returns a
house?
license at midnight.
Carolina, I'm struggling to understand too. Did fake police officers come to your house last night?
What?
The way I understand
Did
it right
fake
now is
police
You're concerned.
Show up at your house last
Yeah,
night.
you're concerned that the people on your porch last night were not actually police officers.
There was nobody at my porch last night. This is like a year ago, almost a year ago.
Bishop,
I'm absolutely confused now.
we need Bishop to explain what he saw and relate it to Carolina so we can all be on the same page.
All I did is reflected on a tweet that she posted, and then she gave us context at the very beginning. It was during the Ottawa, the trucker. What would you call that, Carolina? So you was actually in Canada prior to that?
Trucker convoy.
I was actually detained in Canada for filming when Trudeau, like, you know, sent the, like,
We're going down the rabbit hole.
to.
We're getting away from the conversation. So, were the police officers fake? Yes or no?
We don't know. Nobody ever confirmed or denied if they were real.
That's what's weird. You reported fake officers, and nothing came of it.
And I thought you said they found them and their families and stuff, or did I miss that?
Yeah, my local security that does my security for my rallies, they found them, the actual people.
Were they cops?
We don't know. That's the part we never got to find out. The police departments claim that nobody ever came to my home, that there was no police. But I mean, you clearly see the picture. There was guys dressed in cop outfits in my door.
And didn't you say they had a police car from a police station or a jurisdiction 55 minutes away?
Metro Police.
No. The cameras, when I looked at my cameras, the car had, you know, the little crescent light just said Metro Police. So that's what it is. Like, put those markings, you know? Anybody can put those kind of markings. So when the car pulled up, I just saw the fluorescent lights that said, you know, Metro Police.
All those cars are low jacked. Dispatch can tell you exactly where those cars are at any given point, so that should be easy
So
information.
the actual police never were able to identify that car.
That means they were fake.
Exactly, that's what we're saying.
But we're going out of our way to get, like, say yes or no. So that's why it's weird.
Well, because the actual no police departments in the nearby like 70-mile radius claimed those cops. We're gonna say they were fake. However, my private people found the actual individuals that were in there, and they recognized them because of some tattoos.
But you weren't able to get the names.
Yeah, they have all that. I just told them not to keep me involved, but they did say, like, why were you at Carolina's house?
So if you took the names, you could take it to the police and actually confirm whether or not they work for the department or as a peace officer in Texas. You just decided not to pursue it. Why not pursue it?
I did pursue it. I did send the names of the actual people to the police. I just haven't followed up to see what they did after that.
Impersonating a peace officer is a pretty bad crime.
Exactly. So I viralized that news next day saying that there were fake cops coming to people's homes. I just didn't put it was my name. Okay, like, which part are you guys not understanding?
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, we got Mr. John Fisher in here with his hand up. What you got, John?
Thank you, Jeff. And I'm not good. I'm not good because I came into this space with the topic of conversation being the bogus cops syndrome case of the century, the unknown bogus cops crime of the century. And I think we need to get to the bottom of this. I really do. And I will not feel settled. I will not have my day being peaceful until I know that this case has been settled. So I just wanted to drop that into the mix. Thank you.
Which case?
We need to put Jack Smith on it.
Which case? case.
Yes, the bogus cops case, the case of the bogus cops. So this is the crime of the century. I believe it's the crime of the century. So we need to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. It took me out, I would not have gotten away with, costing the government trillions of dollars in vaccine losses, allegedly.
It was Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett. That's the bad boys, guys. Fine. Will Smith.
I was gonna say, I
Everyone
know
needs
them names.
cameras. Everyone needs cameras at your home. If you can afford it, position them so they'll catch license plates. Establish to Carolina's point, she has contacts with her local police department, local first responders. Build those relationships. It's good to have. I was falsely accused of something this year. I had plenty of video from around my house. I went straight to the police department the next day, the marshal's department. So the risk is out there. Protect yourself, folks. And make sure that if you're suddenly caught off guard, that you have clothes on. So go to my merch store or Jeff's merch store and buy something that says Punchbowl on it to cover your filthy body so you don't gross out the cops when you're out there explaining yourself, because you don't want them to arrest you for being ugly. Or maybe you're too beautiful that you don't want them distracted from being able to make rational decisions. And so you need to cover yourself to ensure that they can think and be able to administer justice, to enforce the law. So check out our merch store and check out my locals. It's free. If you don't sign up, I can only assume that signing up for a free account when you sign up for stuff already is just too much to do for Tap for Nerd. That's cool. That's cool. I'll just be petty about it.
Tones drop, guys. Got to run. Y'all be safe.
Have a good one, Texas.
Take care, PO.
Hasta la pasta, fettuccine.
Thank you, Carolina, for sharing that information. Chad, Secret Service is going to jail with Trump.
What? 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 Who?
Does Trump get to keep his Secret Service when he goes to jail?
Yes.
They're going to sit in the cell with him?
They have to stay with the President of the United States until it's changed by Congress.
Man, that job would suck.
Jeff, the Secret Service has to go to brothels with Hunter Biden. When he went to rehab in Malibu, or what they called rehab, his Secret Service detail got to rent a property next door in Malibu, like something like $20,000 a month, where they all lived. So yeah, I feel like if one detail gets to live at a brothel, we might as well have another one in prison with Trump.
Dude, it's probably just 8-hour shifts. I mean, come on. That's what the COs do. It's a job.
And I bet sometimes they're really bored. They probably have internet access, though, so they can go to Spotify or Rumble and listen to past episodes of the Punchbowl Town Square. And they can probably like and follow. They can do that even for the past Garden episodes as well from Kevin Nelson. It's pretty cool. They might also get bored and go into our Discord and engage there and share dank memes. Maybe peruse them and share them with other COs. They might also head to the punchbowl.space, our new rebuilt website that's beautiful. And while they're on Rumble, after they already followed us, they'll probably go over and follow Red Voice Media as well, so they can check out Chad and others.
It's cool. They don't have to. I don't need the Secret Service watching, although there's enough alphabet agencies watching.
Yeah, I had to delete all my anti-Fed boy posts yesterday after what went down. I was like, actually, I love law enforcement, back the blue, la 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 la. FBI is great. Govern me
Amen.
harder,
Second
daddy.
that. I pinned on the
My
top the
dumbass.
little paper. The little,
You're rubber banding, Carolina.
I pinned on the top the little report.
Well, why the hell did you redact it?
Wait, what?
Why'd you redact it?
What is that? What does that mean?
blocked out all the info.
Well, you want to have my address online?
Oh, that's your address. My bad.
Yeah, screw the criminals. Nice show yesterday, Chad. That was nice. Worked out great.
Thanks, man. Well, it sucks because, yeah, Tap's right. All the anti-Fed boy, and I have the ultimate anti-Fed boy and whistleblower on my show. So I'm just looking at my front door right now, basically in my underwear, so they realize I have nothing on me.
We should be thankful for Donald Trump because if you're worried about federal activity, I think he's soaking it all up. I really think they don't have time for it. The entire federal investigative police, all of these agencies, and they're all focused on him. I think right now the rest of us could go around and do whatever the hell we want because they're so worried about Donald Trump.
So instead of corn poppies, cornbread, sopping it all up, huh?
I already know how the feds are going to get me. They're just going to show up as DoorDash, and I'll be like, I didn't order Chick-fil-A, but there's a Chick-fil-A bag out there. And I'll be like pacing in my living room, and eventually I'll go out to grab it, and that's when they'll get me. They're like, get down on the ground. I'm like, crap, I knew there wasn't such a thing as free Chick-fil-A. And I'll be like, they'll be still trying to put handcuffs on me, and I'll be like biting at the air for the Chick-fil-A sandwich.
See,
I think the giveaway, Tap, was you did that on Sunday.
well, the best jokes always have truth in them, right? And so it's funny to laugh at Tap, but notice the government probably could get all of us to come out of our house just by putting one bag of Chick-fil-A on the porch. Maybe some of us would stare at it for 5 minutes. Maybe some of us would stare at it for 12 hours. But eventually, all of you will open the door and go out for the waffle fries.
Not without cover.
There's a milkshake, and it's melting.
Dry it out, reconstitute it.
Honey, cover me. I'm going for the Chick-fil-A.
You don't think Redbone goes out there with an AR where I get the mail?
Has anybody
Watch
heard
it.
of Murphy's Law? Murphy's Law. Anybody hear of Murphy's Law?
Never heard of it.
I have a Murphy station.
Murphy's Law is when you sign on to a Twitter space and all of a sudden a guy with a noisy leaf blower, backpack leaf blower pops up behind you and starts making a lot of noise with the leaf blower. That's Murphy's Law.
I thought Murphy's Law was anything in motion stays in motion.
Exactly.
Hey, Elizabeth, don't you take an AR and cover me while I go get the mail? There you go. Every day.
I have 7 ducks that run out into the front yard and take up different positions. One has a slingshot, another has a PVC pipe, one has an American flag, another one plays the drums, another one plays the flute. I forget how many I'm at now, but any that are left have ARs.
Where does a duck put drums?
I get that you got to question everything, man, but sometimes you just got to hit that I accept button.
What the accept button?
Oh, gosh. It's where instead of giving yourself a tumor, you press it and you just accept some things because you know you can't ever change them.
Oh, I was looking through the emojis for accept.
I think Murphy's Law states that if a duck can play drums, it will.
That was heavy.
Jump on in, Angelina.
Boy, did I ever pick the right day to wear my tinfoil yarmulke.
Shalom.
Wait, she's really wearing a tinfoil yarmulke. Angela, that's good. That's good form.
What? Shalom.
Now, I have a serious question, guys. How much of this stuff is actually just tinfoil and how much of it is actually true? Does anybody know?
If it sounds stupid, it is stupid. There is no fringy shit on our flag. There is nobody coming to save us. There's no fucking lizards coming out to eat us. At the end of the day, you need to be discernment and understand your government and be able to get involved where you can. If you can stand up, speak up, show up, you're doing a good job. The rest of it's bullshit. I don't give a fuck about the Treaty of 1870. I don't care if we're a bankrupt corporation. I know gas sucks. I know that the fact that I have to pay an exuberant amount of money in groceries, and I know the only real thing I can do besides something that looks like what happened in Utah, which would suck, is for me to get involved and understand my government and bring political fear to the people that are doing it. That's it. That's all. That's all that matters.
Yeah, now ever since I put this picture up, I've lost some people that I liked really well because they were like, this people were tinfoil and da da da. So I put it up as a joke, and they actually blocked me. And these were people I really liked.
Let me guess, were they Q people? Because people that are like us that actually speak about shit and talk about it and are involved, and can touch it and tell you what's really going on without saying follow the plan or some shit. Were those people, the follow the plan people, are the ones that block you?
I believe so.
Bingo. Ding, 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 ding. That's why, because you push back on them, they look stupid. They look stupid. They feel inept. They feel inept. They're not. Then it's shown that they're really not as educated as they like to try to sound. And then, really, what is their whole concept of life? That's who they are. There are a full-on people out there that make $10,000 a show by sitting in a closet and calling themselves X22. The rest of this is bullshit. If you can't stand behind the words you're going to put out in our American lexicon, you don't deserve to be heard, as far as I'm concerned. But we have the First Amendment, so you can. The being heard and being listened to are two different things. So the people that are blocking you because of your cute yarmulke, shalom, then that is on them, and it shows exactly who they are, because they can't get pushed back on what they know to be conspiracy, but they want you to believe that they are the all-knowing. Anybody that says I have intel for you, slap them and walk away.
Okay.
No, thank you, because that felt good. Trust the plan.
I gave up my blue check for this photo.
They'll put it back on for you.
Yeah, that was probably the most important thing you
Thanks.
lost in that whole transaction.
Trust the plan.
17.
All right, I'm gonna warn us all again about making those jokes, because I feel like Grandma said, if you keep making that face, it's gonna stick like that. I worry about that. I also worry that very serious people will go on the Closet podcast, Chad. I think I've seen Cash Patel on there. I think I've seen Christopher Miller on there. And then this morning, I see the former head of the Capitol Police, Stephen Sund, telling me that Christopher Miller is part of the reason that the January 6th riot happened. And then I see Christopher Miller pop up on these weird sort of Q affiliated talk shows and say, oh, when you hear the whole story, you haven't heard the whole story. And at this point, the only people I trust, at least most of them, are, I think, in this room.
Right? It is. And notice, and this is something that because I've been hanging out in Q rooms and shit because it's fun. I see Bishop in there. It's like, what are you doing? and they actually want me to come back because I push back on them so hard. And the thing is, it's all innuendo. This Punisher guy, that if you say, well, I'm not sure, he will just go on a tirade and he just loses his mind on you, right? And just turns inside out like the dragon up there in Jeff's Abbey. I mean, it is the funniest triggering I've ever seen in my life. And the whole time I'm being surveilled. I had a hummingbird outside my window, and they're surveilling me with the bird, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't doubt for a minute they have drones that are hummingbirds. Matter of fact, I know that they probably do.
Birds
But
aren't real.
some birds aren't real. But for some dude to sit there and be like, they're surveilling me because what? You're talking about the treaty is 1872 and gold fringe on flags? Shut up. Shut up. Trust the plan.
Trust the plan. Or is it plan the trust? What?
Well, if we're talking financials, it's always important for you to have a trust so you can protect your family, your legacy, and your future. If you could go to American Alternative Assets, get your free wealth protection guide, and they will teach you how to diversify with gold and silver IRA. Dial 833, the number 2 USA Gold. 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Thank you.
No, he did not pay me for that setup.
But American Alternative Assets sure as shit will. I'm sending them a bill right now. No, for real though, I do want to say this about it. Get that wealth protection guide though. It's really a trip and very interesting. I learned a lot more about diversification. Not all of us are like Tap and Samuel that probably actually took algebra. I took mathematical connections just so I could get out of high school. But learning about the economy, how things move, and their whole concept of American Alternative Assets in the gold and silver IRA is how you can diversify for and think and protect yourself on gold and silver. And they have the history of gold and silver, and I learned a lot about it from the wealth protection guys. It's free and it's pretty cool, just for knowledge people. I thought it was cool. But I diversify with sugar.
I diversify with diversity because that's what you're supposed to do now, right?
No, that's part of the plan. And Tap, the FBI would get you when you go out to hang out with Creamsicle in your garage with the window treatment air conditioner.
Creamsicle would not allow it.
Attack
There are
cat.
some places the FBI will not operate.
I want to
So
attack raccoon. That's what I want because they're scary and they have human-like hands. I think they could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, they carry rabies.
I'll hook you up with Trash Jen. He's single. America's raccoon.
I guess we'll allow it for the brand. Fine, Jen. If it's love, it's love.
And he has little hands.
Listen, you just got to station about 4 raccoons on your perimeter. And how long can they stay alive with rabies? Like, can you keep a raccoon alive with rabies? Is that possible? What's the science behind that?
Oh, real quick, do not buy the notebook that I linked to earlier from my merch shop. I just saw what shipping costs for the notebook compared to other items. They're trying to charge $20 for a notebook to be shipped. Don't buy it. Do not buy that notebook from my. I'm not joking around. It's ridiculous.
You need to get on the phone with distribution and handle that shit right now, Tap.
Are they shipping it 1 page at a time and then you have to reassemble it?
I think so. It's an IKEA notebook.
You're welcome, Tap.
Dude.
When I checked my email, I was like, spicy. That was a little.
If you don't mind, I think we should. I'm just going to cancel those on my side.
I vote yes.
I think as conservatives, it's our responsibility now to start a Made in America notebook company that we call something like Taps Notebooks, and then you can have conversations about how the other notebook companies are woke and they use foreign distribution, and we make all of ours by hand here at a factory in Adirondack or some other distinctly American location.
Man, I make Adirondack chairs in my shop.
Well, will I get a refund, or would it just be easy to just let it go?
Nah, dude, we're gonna
Yeah.
figure out how you get a refund. I'm looking on I'll have this figured out by the end of the day. I'm doing work stuff right now, but I'll figure it out, man. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at the notebooks from every angle. They're pricey.
I'm just well, I'm in for enough money as it is, but I think what I'm gonna do is just get a bunch made and probably solicit some input, and we'll make like our own that's like Punchbowl specific, and I'll just eat the cost up front and try to recoup it. But then again, if I can't even get people to sign up for free logos, then maybe that wouldn't be a good investment.
Figure out
Why would I sign up for a locals if I don't even use a locals? It's like when dickhead Brandon Struck's like, Chad, you have to have the Walkaway app. Like, I'm not going to your app, bro. I don't care. I'm not gay, and I never was a Democrat. None of this pertains to me. So locals, I don't even fuck with locals. So I would love to support you, but I would just be doing it in just, if it gets you a number, then I'll go sign up for that local. I don't know. I just don't.
No, I get it, but I'm still gonna keep being an asshole about it today because it's fun.
you can do it through your Rumbles. Like local and Rumble is connected.
I know. That's why all my Rumbles have the CEO local in my Rumbles. So I don't even get my Rumble, or whatever that is, rumbling.
Well, I signed up for the what was it, the Spotify, but I'm not going to do any other social media things. I don't care for them.
That makes sense.
We understand you only have so much tinfoil.
Correct.
The space guy's rubber banding. Ironic.
Have you guys ever written on stone paper?
Yeah, with my caveman buddy, Fred Flintstone.
Oh, damn it, Jeff.
I've written on rice paper.
No, so they take like
I smoked weed at rice paper.
I was going to say, I smoke rice paper.
they take calcite and like plastic. Supposedly it's like eco-friendly, but you're using plastic. But whatever. It has like a really different texture. It's really weird to write on it as compared to like wood paper, wood pulp, or rice paper. And it's funny because like writing on it is to me like when forks scratch against china. I don't know, something about the movement of the pen on the, and somebody bought me a really nice notebook that's all stone paper and I just can't use it.
You have to try different La Plumas.
I think if I stop using a ballpoint pen and I use a felt pen, it won't bother me as much. I was just curious if any. Okay, I got some emojis. Thank you, people. I love you. I'm not weird. Well, I am weird, but I'm not that weird.
Try the calligraphy.
Oh, you're that weird.
You're the McFreak. But you're our McFreak.
I'm telling you, try, if you ever have a chance, write on some stone paper with a ballpoint pen and compare it to wood paper, and you'll be like, "This is
Stop
weird."
with stone paper. We're done with stone paper. I like it when you talk about only mans.
I like it when someone's like, hey, I just did something and it's like scratching a fork against China. You should do it. Everyone go home and scratch a fork against China. You're going to love it.
Listen, we all passed around that battery and put it to our tongues. Just come on now. We all did it.
Nope. Let's take a vote. I never
No.
did that. I never
No.
did it. I didn't do anything like that. Never once.
That's amazing. That's amazing segue. Jeff, what did you put in for discussion on an EV truck?
Oh, you mean the fact that a guy had to bail on his Ford Lightning on a trip to Chicago? I mean, Fords are so reliable. I would have never expected that his brand new Ford Lightning that cost him $115,000 plus $15,000 in chargers installed at his house would break down on a trip. I'm blown away.
Ford stands for fucking only rolls downhill.
did an entire space yesterday on being weird. Come on, we're all weird.
Just Connecticut.
Yeah, Mike, never licked a battery, bro.
Oh,
So I've licked a battery, and I'm super weird. I'm the guy who woke up and thought he could build a generational ship.
I'm just going to leave that totally alone, y'all. You can do with that whatever you want.
Man, that I don't think it's weird to see how your body reacts to shit. I got a TENS unit for my back and I put it on my balls, and it was weird.
We have a winner.
I always do.
Holy crap, 4 people signed up today. Thank you all.
You know
That
what?
actually worked for a bit.
And if you'd like to see the TENS unit video, please go to onlymans.com/Vanilla Gorilla.
Chad, you know I'm going to look in the closet for my old TENS unit now, right?
Get weird, bro. You know what's funny is all the listeners down here, the chicks, they're all punching and laughing. You're freaks. All of you are freaks, and I love you. But these conversations are why I can't run for Senate. And when people ask me to run for office here in South Carolina, I just give them a recording.
That's the same reason I leave my mic off a lot of times.
Chad, have you bought your flight to Fort Lauderdale yet?
I keep asking him I need more of a geolocation so that we can set up, the fight. I've got Beard Vet said he'll pay for the entire trip. My CEO said that he would pay me to go and would bring a film crew as long as it's filmed. And I'm like, and I've even messaged Cardell, let's do this. Let's do it for charity. Let's do whatever. I'm serious. I'm like, let's cage up. If Elon and Zuckaduck can get in the fucking cage, how about an arms dealer and a former Navy CB media guy? So, I mean, I'm never liked Newsmax anyway, and he was on Newsmax, so it'd be fun to whoop his ass just because Newsmax pisses me off.
I think we need to
But
get,
on.
we should get the Chad Cardillo fight attached to the Zuckerberg Elon Musk fight. I think, according to Elon Musk's last post, he's suggesting that Italy is going to let them do this fight somewhere like the Colosseum.
Oh, that would be awesome. And we really should have an undercard. I think Dougzilla undercard would just be awesome.
It's sick. You're absolutely right. Bishop, if I send you a song, can you play my intro music when I used to fight in the cage? Just the first couple bars. It's awesome.
I'll take undercard. It'll be me against the entire Biden family.
Watch him be like, oh, it's going to be a fight in the metaverse.
I don't know. Never underestimate a cokehead's strength.
That's a really good point, Mike. You are from Connecticut.
Oh, yeah. You got crackheads everywhere.
I had a crackhead in the back of my ambulance once that we had with the Velcro with an officer in the back. And by the time we got to the hospital, me and that cop had destroyed everything in the back of that ambulance and trying to hold this dude down and then protect ourselves to the point where the cop had to take his gun out of his hip and throw it into the front with the driver through that little window because we could not get a hold of this little fucker in an 8-foot area. He was everywhere. And he was like 120 pounds.
They get that crunchy strength, man.
Yeah. It was bad. I finally had to stick his head in between where the CPR chair at the head of the gurney and this cabinet, and I just kept shoving his head in there, and the cop sat on his butt until I pinned his head between a cabinet and a chair.
Also, I think the fight should be by the bike racks after recess. I'm just saying.
What, Cardillo?
Yep.
Bike rack is a weapon.
3 o'clock. 3 p.m. Has to be 3 p.m. when the bell rings.
He got crushed. The meme team went after him. Everybody, we were like, let's go, dude. I mean, Beard Vet's like, hey, man, I'm paying for it. Let's do it. Where do you want to do it? Chad wants to do it for charity. Let's do it somewhere. And the motherfucker went ghost.
Well, that's typical of an internet.
Similar split in half.
Battery's training.
Well, why is he training if you won't say we're doing it? So he's just going to train in infinity and beyond, which would help with his man boobs.
And man boobs for the win.
2-0.
Movies.
And it's weird to see flapjack man boobs. John Cardella.
I'm not fat. I'm big boned.
No, you're fat.
All right, take my keys, Mike. Away. Hey, Chad. When you got your the soundboard and you went through all them voices, how long did you laugh about it when you heard your voice being changed? 'Cause you was flawless yesterday when you were changing your voice.
What do you mean? Oh, when I first got it, was just testing it all out.
Yeah, when you first got it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was standing in my living room laughing my fucking ass off, and then I started calling people because I can actually call people through my board. And it was during Christmas, and I think my wife has a video. So I have a niece, and she's tiny. And when she was little, we went to this crate place, and I was playing with her, and she was having a good time and laughing, cute baby, whatever. And she didn't finish her apple crepe, so I ate it, and she freaked. And since that time, she won't talk to me, and she's like 9 now. It's weird. Or not 9, no, she's 6. And so I was like, okay, so she's all into Christmas, and she's got that, what is it, Elf on the Shelf thing. So I put on the high pitched voice, and I called her and said that Uncle Chad, I went to school with your Elf on the Shelf, Eddie. She named it Eddie. And so I made it out like I was Eddie's friend, and I was talking for Eddie because Eddie just moves us all every day on the Elf on the Shelf thing, and she bought it. And then I was like, "Your Uncle Chad loves you, and he wanted me to give you a call and blah blah blah." And she bought it hook, line, and sinker. And then I had to call her like 10 times before Christmas because she was worried. But as long as I have a relationship with my niece now, as long as I have that voice. But when she sees me, she's like, no, she won't talk to me. She's getting better though, because I asked her about Eddie, and she's like, how do you know him? And then coming up with that story was hard. I do a lot for love. I really do. But yeah, it's fun.
Oh, you're probably cracking up because the little soundboard I've got's got 3 voices, and one's a woman, one's a deep voiced man, and actually it's got the child. It's actually got 4 voices and a robot. I started cracking up with the woman's voice.
Yeah, I do one of the voices. If you watch Drew Berquist's show, he has a press conference, and they're all fake. We're actually doing a website and doing AI to make the characters. But you have Benjamin Beans. He's gay from Boston, apparently. And they ask questions about the show, like Drew's getting off the field. It was a good show today. We got a couple hang-ups. We're trying harder. It's really funny. So they said we can only do so many voices, and they asked me if I would. So I do Budward Aloysius the Third, Esquire, trucker from South Carolina, Trucker Daily, and then I use that voice that I did last night with the higher pitch one. It's pretty funny because of the laugh in that, when you laugh with that filter, it's classic funny. I mean, it's just the perfect hilarious laugh. So yeah, it's fun.
The chipmunk laugh, yeah, it sounded good. It worked out good. All the voices, and the transition was great.
Thank you. I'm trying to be a triple threat.
Hey, so if you don't mind, is my mic coming in pretty good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, so I have a bit of a Twitter issue here. I have an individual on one of my posts that I just posted a couple math equations and the solutions to. And it literally is saying, let me read it for verbatim here. The truth, the hashtag Antichrist is revealed. The actual man in the flesh is at Elon Musk and his psycho brother at I am not underscore Elon. You can prove it all for yourselves, validate my post, all can be evidenced. How the hell do I even respond to that as a rational individual?
The same way I'm hoping I can respond to you and just avoid the entire conversation.
Silence.
Intergalactic alien reptile overlords. Yeah, that's it.
That language sounds like somebody that's usually in our back DMs, doesn't it, Tap?
It
Is it
does.
someone by the
And you know,
name of
we do
C?
have a lot of back DMs, and it's all part of making the Punch Bowl successful. So please be sure to repost, check out the punchbowl.space, check out our merch stores, and be sure to follow not only the Punch Bowl TM, but everyone up on the panel and even those in listeners. And also be sure to engage. An article that you found that you want a member of the Punch Bowl team to comment on, tag us. We'll weigh in. And with that said, let me get back to the conversation. Why Tap do another plug? You mentioned Tap.
And respond with trust the plan. It works every time. Ask Jen.
Locals.
No, we got 4 new today. I appreciate it. I'm done. I don't even want people to join my locals now today. 4 is too many. If another person does that, I'm going to be angry. I'm going to kick them.
Can I ask a question?
You got questions, we might have answers.
Well, it's more of those of you that I know Jeff was there in Tap. What did you guys think of the spaces interaction what am I trying to say? Bringing it into the live show.
Integration.
Thank you. Integration. What did you think? Because I've got a lot of feedback from other influencers and stuff, and they're trying to figure out the tech or wanting the tech, which I don't care. But I was just wanting to see what you all thought, because for what we've dealt with terrestrial radio and the idea of going to podcasts, and like I go to Spotify and I'm like, shit, why can't I just find what I want? And like, it seems Twitter, if we go find a space, it's pretty easy. And then plus, as a host, I like being able to look at a profile and be like, that guy was a dick. Why was he on the show? You know, we could never do that in radio. I just had to hope that my dipshit producer actually vetted somebody before we put them on air. Plus, we told the government to kiss our ass yesterday and talk radio. So I just wanted to see what y'all thought.
I thought it integrated great. The sound was super clear. I had no issues.
So, from my perspective as a host who hosts a space every single night, with that being said, y'all are doing significantly better than I can even hope to do. The only thing I survive on is my content, which is really boring science and physics. And I make it as fun as I can, but I mean, it's still just math.
I thought it went great. I'm not looking forward to the rush of people that are going to copy it in the meantime, but I'm confident enough in what we're doing that we've got some stuff that's going to separate us. But I look forward to it. Normally, after someone does something in the next 30 days, you see a lot of copycats, and then people that can't sustain it or don't know how to use it. So I'm looking forward to seeing who uses it well. And I'm also looking forward to our own twist we're going to put out there. I think it's good. It was inevitable. I'll say this. Anyone that can look out there and find best practices and run with them, I'm all for it.
I'd agree with everything said, Chad, except for one thing that you said, and that you were going to pass on the knowledge of what you're doing. Screw that. Let them figure it out for themselves. Be the elitist right now, brother.
Yeah. Um, Matt Couch heard me say that, and he was like, "Shut your fucking mouth." And I'm like, and then I've got, and I even said it that, yeah, I'm going to. And here's the thing, I'm by no means technological in anything, but we kind of got lucky in doing it and how we did it, and it was kind of one of those things where, holy shit, that worked. We didn't think that would work, but it worked, and now we're trying to figure out exactly who's going to have what, and then at the same time, first to market though. Here, first to market, we've got to establish it, and then go from there. I think down the road it's going to be one of those things, but just like I think Tap said, it's going to end up where people are going to try to figure it out, and they're going to do it and how they do it. Plus, doing a live and trying to be terrestrial radio is not easy. It you can lose a lot trying. I have to have a host. I think Cat's down there and Shell. We're gonna have different hosts do it, and so when I'm in show, I can throw it to them so that they can monitor the space. And now we figured it out because they couldn't talk during commercial or something, but that was a board thing. So I think we figured that out too. But there's still things that's got to be tweaked. But to see people try to do it, it's going to be interesting. And I'm going to keep it for me and Red Voice. Red Voice went and bought all of the tech shit that we got it to work at my place. They got it yesterday, so hopefully you will see the entire network on one entire space all day for Red Voice Media. And what's going to happen, we're going to have people that are going to be the co-hosts or the host will be Red Voice, and then the co-host will be up there all day. And then when it's time for my show, I replace one of the other co-hosts, which is the show prior to me, and then my show comes into that space. So we think we got it figured out, and I just think it's going to be interesting because it's like being on a radio channel at that point, because there's a lot of people that are down here. They're either creepers or they just voyeurs, or they just want to listen all day and they sit it on their desk or wherever. I had some chick message me yesterday when I said something on my RVM show that she fell off of the stair climber at the gym while she was listening, because it was like, I can't remember what I said though. But yeah, it's a game changer, and we know it's a game changer because we've had some pretty big other hosts blowing up my messenger and like, hey, tell me how to do that. So I think it's gonna be cool. I just want to see how much people wanted to really interact in those shows, because I think it takes podcasting from podcasting to terrestrial radio to the idea of being on Fire Stick, Amazon, all of that. So you're on TV and it's kind of terrestrial at the same time. So it makes it a little more
You
interesting.
guys proved yesterday it can be done, Chad, and it was done flawlessly. I loved it.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you. I was pretty giddy because we were told it can't happen, and it worked. The only thing that sucks is that on the RVM show, I watch videos blindly, right? So I'm doing my commentary. The only problem with that is the TriCaster puts out video from when we're live 90 seconds later. So the space is actually live with me. So what goes out to what everybody visually sees is 90 seconds later. So for me to bring in a guest or a listener to say, what do you think of that video? They may have not seen it yet. Does that make sense?
Just put it up in the bubble.
Mike, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's not a nest or a bubble, man. It's been renamed. It's now the X-hole. Get with it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that memorandum. Then put it in the X-hole.
Still wouldn't work. I do have some suggestions, but I also agree with Jeff that you shouldn't be sharing this with anybody other than your network that you're working on right now. Be ahead of the game, perfect it, and have other people try to figure out how to do it themselves. Don't share what's working for you to be a market that's flooded unless they're working with you. It just doesn't make sense. That would be like giving your recipe away when you're trying to, win the contest. Don't do that. But I do need to have, I have feedback from yesterday, very specific. So I'll send it to you in DM of things that you probably should do before you have an interview next time. Just to have kind of a thing that you send out an email kind of thing before you have the show.
You're hired. No, but and thank you, Jen. And I love to look at all the little capitalists in here. I love you guys, and you're being capitalist for me. That's why I love the Punch Bowl. Family is dope. I mean, I have a cookbook. You know what I'm saying?
Also, thanks
So
for letting us give a shout out last night. I'll admit I had at least 4 beers last night, so at first I'm like, but I just forgot to tell people where to go to watch the damn show. But man, I was like, I was pretty damn stoked to be up there.
no, and see, that's what we want. That's what the kind of, because we really believe that Red Voice is going to be actionable. We've got all kinds of cool shit. We're going to do 2 cake parties. That's already in the plan, because I always say we keep being right about shit like the Russian dossier and all that, and it's always like 6 months later. And in the fire department, we're always like, oh great, we're having cake. That means somebody got an award, or somebody got promoted. So we're like, great, cake party. We deserve a cake party. So that's something we always said in the fire department. So I'm like, why don't we have a cake party? We keep being right about shit, and the Democrats tell us we don't know nothing, and we keep proving that we're right. And then it's always like 3, 6, 8 months later, and there's no cake party. We don't ever get to be like, yay, we did it. So Red Voice wants to have 2 big parties, one close to, probably in Texas. We're not going into California. And then maybe one here in Florida, and invite all listeners and whatnot. But we just got the July numbers for Red Voice Media. Just on Twitter, we did 21 million views.
That's fantastic.
And our Roku's blown up. That was the first streaming service that we went out to, and daily we're averaging right around 650,000 views for a small, stream on Roku. That's, and being only 4 weeks old, we're pretty lucky. And the other ones we just got on Apple TV, Samsung, Roku, Fire Stick, and there's a new company called Q, not the gay Q, but the CUE, and they're actually going to, I think they're carrying all UFC fights. You don't have to like being a part of paying for their subscription. You actually get all UFC fights, so it's not pay-per-view. That's kind of the thing, I think, but they're actually going to put us as featured organizations.
Yeah, I think we're basically trying to position ourselves as like Red Voice Media's favorite little I don't know, little retarded nephew. We're like, hey, we're here to support.
I'm not gonna lie. We've at Red Voice, because I'm kind of the gatekeeper. I bring in, I find shows, I find talent. We do those. I mean, I offered Chris Mowry, Harry Simpson's fluffer, a show, and he about shit himself. And my CEO's like, it's called Red Voice Media, Chad. And I said, how's that any different than Hannity and Combs? And if that Chris kid is not a Democrat. We've been in spaces. Bishop, you were there when Aaron big dadded his ass, and the kid's questioning a lot. Now that he's not drinking anymore, he's questioning a lot. You see him post one thing, he's totally different when you talk to him. Totally different. And he actually has a video out that I have where he says Democrats are stupid. So he's kind of all over the place. And plus, I think he's tired of being big timed by Harry and his little rosy cheeks. I think he doesn't like the fact that Harry's the lead guy, because Harry's got 500,000 or almost 1 million followers, I think, and Chris has only got 40,000.
Oh man, that's lame.
Yeah, it's really lame, and I think Harry even got real. I mean, not Harry, but Chris got real that night that we were all in that Aaron space. And he was like, I had a drinking problem. I'm trying to figure shit out. I'm obsessed with Trump. I'm just I've always tried to figure it out, but everything I see is bad. And he's an ideologue that's questioning his own ideology, which is the best kind of person to engage with, because more than likely when we're able to show him actual truth, he's good. But he actually did say that what did he say, Bishop, that the people that are his handlers or whatever, he's like, they're always telling me what to say and how to say it and all of this. So he admitted that there are people telling him what to say.
Yeah, I must have missed that part. I think I was in there for a short period of time. It hit bedtime. You have to become disciplined. You can't do 36 hours on Spaces. It's not productive for your daily life.
It was time for Bishop to pull up his Trumpy bear and pull the blanket over and get some rest.
Trumpy bear. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But Tap, Red Voice, I've talked to them, and maybe someday we'll talk and figure it out because we're expanding the media. They just poured a whole bunch of money into the studios. They're looking at building me a new studio here so that we can do other stuff and have multiple studios, one in Arizona, one in Florida, and one here in South Carolina. We'll see. But they're expanding on it. And the cool thing is we have independently wealthy owners. So it's not that they want to lose money by pouring it in Red Voice. We want the sponsors and all that. But it's moving in that direction to where we're not going to keep chipping away at junk, right? And a lot of people don't know, but Red Voice was renamed after Stu Peters left. I actually took Stu Peters' place at Red Voice because of where he was going with his content. They didn't want to be a part of it, and they separated. And then they rebranded with me in January and came out with Hardcore American, let's go out there and get shit done type attitude. So that's kind of where we're at with it. And there's room for everybody. We just got to figure out where everybody wants to be.
Hell yeah.
That's amazing, Chad. I had no idea about Stu Peters before that. I had no idea. I'm glad, upgrade. You majorly upgraded with that. I think that's amazing.
Well, I don't put it out much because it really doesn't matter to me I don't look at, to go out there and be like, I replaced Stu Peters at Red Voice and rebranded in January. I'm not replacing anybody. I came in and do my stuff, right? So Stu had his time with the owners and what Red Voice was. They built something huge. Whatever happened. I mean, I know, but a lot of the direction of commentary was not appreciated by where they were going. They grew apart. Let's use the divorce term. They grew apart, and the rebrand to go from an absolute rebrand in January and to be where we are now is huge. And it's because we have great hosts. We have great programming, or we just have such fucked up programming people can't stop watching it. So there's that too.
Well, I love that it was on a space yesterday. I got to listen to it for a little bit, and I loved it. I mean, and I think it's great too, again, for people that kind of just want to sit on a space, maybe listen throughout the day or something. But it also was, somewhat I felt interactive, as well. And so I really appreciated it. So I thought that was a great idea. And something to look forward to for me. I really liked it.
Thank you. That means a lot because this was my brainchild. And talking to my nerds, not you, Tap, but at the nerds that do computer shit, which is hilarious because my producer Disco is the head of all that, and he's like, Chad, what was the question they asked the other day? And I was like, what? Oh, he's like, do you have a PC or a what? Oh, I forget. Do you have a PC or a Mac or something like that? And I'm like, I have a laptop. And he's like, Chad, work with me. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, do you have a mini blah 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 canoe valve? And I'm like, I don't know, buddy. So I have to send pictures and do FaceTime with him all the time. But that's why I laugh, Robin, because I sit here and I'm like, I'm an absolute retard with this stuff. But once I get it, I'm solid, but I can't talk about it because I don't know what I plugged into what, but the half circle Mooney thing goes into the half circle Mooney hole. It's just like that thing you had as a kid. Put the circle in the circle hole, put the triangle in the triangle hole. I like that they do that. Tap right now is about to throw up in his garage. I can hear he's like, this is so retarded. But
Tough shit, Tap. I am the total same. I am totally the same. I'm like, power on, perfect. Yeah, and that's about as far as I go. And then I have to have my husband explain, okay, so this cord does this and da 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 da. And I'm like, just set it up Thank you. I'm the same exact way.
But but see, I also understand theory, and then that's something I'm interested. So theoretically, if this is this and it's going through a phone app because they just got it to PC and Mac to where you can get a microphone on a PC, and I'm sitting there thinking the theory, and they're like, no, it won't work. You're gonna have this problem. You're gonna have this problem, and I'm like, well, I want to try it. And we worked through a couple things, and then yesterday was the first time we tried it live. And the first time I tried it to make sure we were getting sound right was in James R's Pirate Radio. And then yesterday they wanted to do like secret testing, and I was like, no, let's just rip this bit. And so we did it for the I'm Fired Up show. Dude, Garrett Boyle, the FBI whistleblower, he was like, dude, this is dope. He texted me. He's like, that was really cool. I felt like I was like on a real call-in show, but I was on video too. So, I think it went well. And thank you, Robin. I appreciate that. And Jen, I just saw all of your stuff, your critiques. I look forward to reading it. But I think it's going to revolutionize space too. The space concept and being able to, and that's one of the things that's always about Elon, right? His whole thing is innovation. If you don't innovate your job in 2 years at X, he fires you. So if he's about innovation to what he puts out, maybe we can get him away from the Mario Nafals and the Ian Chans and those type of people and see that there's a network actually investing in what Twitter's doing. Because not only are we doing the space, but we're also live 24 hours on Twitter on Red Voice Media.
I wish I had stayed up on stage. I got kicked off based off my device, and I just stayed down for the space last night. But I wish I was up there because we've had our run-in with the Rampage guy, and you might as well just call him a Democrat.
Oh, you're talking about when we did yesterday when we had Juanita Broderick on Shell Shock, yeah. Yeah, that really pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I should have sent you a message because I think we've had our run-in with him before, and his only object is to come in and be argumentative. And as you said, it's soliloquy, right? How you say it. I usually say they step on a pedestal and talk about the book of me, and that's exactly what he does. He takes you completely away from the attention of the person that's up there. That's the fear. So that's the thing you have to pay attention to. So if you do have a guest speaker, and then someone will come up and they'll be on the cusp of what the previous conversation was and go far, just take a 360 and go the opposite direction, or excuse me, a 180 and go the opposite direction, and then it takes away from time for your guest speakers.
I was trying to be nice. I mean, I said, I really want to hear what you have to say, but I want to be respectful of Juanita Broderick. I mean, she's 78 years old. It's like 10:45 at night, and she'd already been on for an hour or so. And we just sat there through how long did he talk, Bishop? I think we let him talk for like 10 minutes or so, 5-10 minutes. I was losing my shit.
I glazed over. I have no idea. I don't even know what he was talking about after 2 minutes. Probably 30 seconds.
The guy was a complete douchebag.
And, he's probably lucky that Juanita was there because I was respectful of her instead of completely ripping his fucking head off. But I just said, look, bro. And I even gave him a chance to come back. But see, where I know Rampage, he used to work with Eric Matheny's show, and they fired him. So I know who he is, and I know he's a petulant child and thinks he's tough. So vibrato could get you in a lot of trouble, and I gave him an opportunity. I preach humility. I preach being humble, and I said, hey man, no disrespect. I just wanted to be respectful. And Juanita left right after that, and they brought him back up. And I said, I'll be more than happy. We would love to hear what you have to say, but I think you need to apologize to the room for disrespecting Miss Juanita and the room by calling me a douche when we kicked you down because you were going into a full soliloquy about how the rest of the world's going to die and we're all dead and this whole thing is fucked and we just need to whatever. It was just bullshit. And I can't remember what he said when I said, if you'd like to apologize, I'd be more happy to give you the mic. And he got the mic and he said, I'm not apologizing to shit, bro, or something like that. Boss. And so we kicked him. But I mean, I tried to be as professional as possible.
I think you were totally gracious, Chad. Honestly, I was very proud. I was very proud of you guys. You were super gracious. He came up and spoke for like 5 minutes, and it had nothing to do with Juanita at all. And, and then you were completely gracious to even allow him 5 minutes to do that. And then, so yeah, that was on him totally.
Well, thank you. And Juanita told me too afterwards. She goes, "You handled it good." But I have so much respect for her story, and she was raw last night, man, talking about how he grabbed her, and I mean, it was. I was just sitting here pissed off, and she's such a wonderful person. And I felt bad for her because it was a total dick move. Like I'm sitting up there looking at her big smile, and she's been so great. And this dude's just going off on some bullshit. And I just couldn't let it happen no more. It was really irritating me. And thank you. I appreciate that, Robin, because every bit of me wanted to rip his head off and shit down his throat. In a Christian way.
Sorry, AC, go ahead.
Wait, AC is the founder and source of the X-Hole, ladies and gentlemen. AC Truth. You need an intro after that. Go ahead, AC.
Yes, when you post something at the top, it is no longer the nest, it is the X-Hole. You're putting something in the X-Hole. What I wanted to say, Chad, is that Dr. Drew has been doing what you guys are doing. He has a totally different format. And his is stale. What I mean by that is he is mostly talking to his one guest, and then there's lots of commercials. And, so it's very stale. So I like what you guys are doing and how you described what you're going to be doing in the future, because you're involving people on Spaces as well as who's at the station. With Dr. Drew, he has no idea of the setup, and he has an assistant named Caleb who literally is doing the podcast at the same time as the YouTube channel, at the same time on other channels and on Spaces. And so they can't really quite juggle, because Dr. Drew is just doing what he usually does on YouTube, and his assistant Caleb is putting it on radio and everywhere else. And I don't think it's, at first it was really great, and then it started to kind of wander off, because it was kind of like you were sitting there on Spaces when you could get more of it out of being on YouTube and in the comment section. So it's kind of like you would want to leave Spaces to jump on YouTube so that you could at least comment or see what other people were commenting and who else was listening, because people would come and go of Spaces. But the way that you did it wasn't a really long broadcast. You involved other people. You kept going back to people on the Spaces, as well as talking when you were on another platform. And so I've seen that actually work when people jump around to each platform to acknowledge people on each platform. So I like the way you guys are doing it. But yeah, if you ever see it, Caleb will often talk about what he's doing, and he doesn't say Dr. Drew's a pain, but Dr. Drew doesn't really know what's going on, and he has to juggle a bunch of stuff. But I do know they put it on multiple platforms. So if you're looking for because Caleb will try to go into the nuances of how he's doing it, and I usually tune that out, but it might be something that you and your producers are interested in, all the different platforms, like how they're laying that out. But I wanted to say your the way you lay it out is much better than what Dr. Drew is, because it gets kind of boring after 30 minutes. You're kind of listening to commercials, and then it's like you're sitting there looking at people's faces on Spaces, but you're hearing like in another world where you didn't do that. You included. And I think that works. That platform actually works. I'll tune into Dr. Drew on Spaces only because I'll put my phone down knowing I'm not going to really, I just want to hear what he has to say. And like any new stuff in the medical field. But like, it's not interesting. I'm not wanting to get involved and like really enjoying it. So I just want to share that.
You know, like with the Punchbowl, it's really hard to say, like someone came up and said, "Hey, what's your brand?" And they came in and listened. He's like, "This is your brand?" I'm like, "What? Allowing people to speak, and moderate and make sure there's decorum, So I don't know what really our official. Where do you put us, Chad? What are we as a brand?
You're the town hall. There's only one town square. That's it. And it's a fucking necessary thing, that a throwback to what it used to be, where the community did meet in the town square and talk about issues, and people got up on their Apple box and said what they had to say, and the way the Punchbowl does it with integrity and honesty and is real about what you allow in the room and what you talk about. From it's like the shows, man. Everything you do in media, if you can hit the people in the feels, they'll always come back. That could be anger, but they'll be back. And what the town square does is it allows it for people to feel bad, like, holy shit, I didn't know that. Makes them, educated. We come in and try to educate one another, and at the same time we have real debate. And I haven't had any overtly disgusting debates in here, and to where it turned vitriolic. The town square is your brand. That's what Punchbowl is.
I appreciate Chad.
That's why I'm a fan here.
Jump Tap.
Right on.
Tap, you guys sell stuff before we leave?
Absolutely. So, quick housekeeping. Shout out to everyone who's listening live right now on Rumble. Shout out to everyone who's going to listen to the recording. Also, this Sunday at 4 Central, Monica Matthews will be having a space that's a part of her ministry, helping 5 people in need. Please check that out. It's down below in the comments. Please set a reminder. Please repost that so others are aware of it. Beyond that, check out the punchbowl.space for our merch store, our services, and also be able to get links to our Rumble and Spotify channels. While there, please be sure to follow. It won't cost you any money. And if you want to give us a rating on what you like or a thumbs up, that helps as well. Gee gosh O'Malley, I'm becoming a stereotypical podcast scripter, like our bells and whistles. Check out our sponsor, fengfu.net, where you can see a variety of mushroom products that are sold. The Punchbowl Town Square is Monday through Friday, 8 to 11 a.m. Eastern. Also, our Garden and Homecast, if you follow Kevin Nelson, is available on Tuesday evenings and is also available on Punchbowl and, of course, Spotify. Available on Rumble and Spotify. Thank you for everyone for your support. Thank you for your reposts. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your follows. Thank you for speaking. Thank you for challenging us. Thank you for DMs that are less than constructive feedback on how we might improve or what we're doing with our lives. All the engagement counts. Check out our Twitter community for the Punchbowl. It's pinned to the Punchbowl TM's account. You can go there and speak with other Punchbowl members. And then also call us out. Tag us in news articles that you think are ridiculous. If you see a tech thing, go, Tap for Nerd, what's up with this? Let's have a discussion. And finally, our mission at Punchbowl is to welcome people of all backgrounds to discuss news, politics, faith, health, and self-improvement in the English-speaking world. We want to amplify the voices of those who are often unheard and give them an opportunity to be heard and respected. We strive to become the largest English Twitter space and create a platform for meaningful conversation and community building. That is the mission statement that we formed as a team back in February. That's what we've been acting on. That's what the many of iterations of Punchbowl that you have seen have been influenced by, and that's what we'll continue to be influenced by. So thank you all for your support.
Thanks, Tap.
AC, thank you for I forgot to say thank you for the X-Hole. I love it.
What do you got coming up, Jed?
Nothing. I think I'm going to go buy a dishwasher, and I'm not talking about my wife. I'm talking about the thing that we put dishes in. yesterday I got done with the show and I looked in the kitchen and the dishwasher was in the middle of the kitchen. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but Redbone's been working on it. So she may have it fixed. We have a motor issue. I don't have a show until Monday, and we will be back on Spaces with our shows because I have the tech at my house. So whether or not the network does it with all the shows, my shows are always going to have it now. So there's that. So we will always be anything with I'm Fired Up, and my brand will be on Space with the podcast, so or whatever network deal. But yeah. And thank you, AC. We actually looked at the Dr. Drews and other ones out there to try to figure it out. And a lot of it comes from the idea of terrestrial radio and how to bring in a caller and those type of things. And it's really difficult that's why we're not sure all the hosts are going to do it, because a lot of them have just done podcasts. So to be able to do all those things, and like his, I handled everything on my end. Shell handled the room, and then Matt Couch and Trash did my evening show. But my producer in Georgia in the afternoon show handles all of the assets that I call for. Peach, cut 1, cut 2, whatever. Calls in the producer does all that. Then I just host. So the space thing is going to be handled. We're going to have those co-hosts all day. So yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes. It's not just turning on a computer and getting it done. And we did it all pretty much ourselves yesterday. And we are going to bring people on to make it easier for other hosts. And even for me, I mean, I was stressed out, but I was excited because the tech was working. So, and that's what I've always been about. I miss being fired from the radio. Plus, I like sticking it to the FCC because essentially we got talk radio back in that way without having to do FCC and uncensored. So it's exciting. So I
You
appreciate that.
you guys did a great job actually, because the first 3 or 4 episodes of Dr. Drew, they kept messing up because they were struggling because they were counting on one guy, Caleb. So it looks like you've got a few people who are able to help fill in gaps, whereas there it's just the one dude, and they had lots of glitches they had to work through, and you guys didn't have any. So that was really smart, studying it and figuring out how you were going to do it, because that's one thing
It was
they were
great,
struggling.
but we are coming up on the close of it. So real quick, let's do our weekend safety briefing and close it down because we are at the end. Do not add to or subtract from the population. Do not drive under the influence of alcohol or any other vice. If you go skydiving, bring a parachute. If you go diving, bring a wetsuit. If you go jogging, bring sweatpants. If you're doing woodworking this weekend, count the number of fingers you have before you'd start anything. The number of fingers that you have before and after you've done your woodworking should match. If not, seek medical attention.
And as my favorite first sergeant said, you don't got to go home, but your ass better not be here.
Hoorah.